Hello, welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. I'm Chris Primo, and as you can see on the screen, this is not today's daily puzzle. This means I am unavailable today to publish the ordinary daily solve because I'm traveling and just not in a position to record. So instead, I'm going to be solving another New York Times crossword puzzle. I've completed the never before series of crosswords of those 6 series of unusual crosswords. So I just sort of searched around for another crossword that I searched for interesting New York Times crosswords, and I found a list that Will Shortz put together of, I think it was around 10 crosswords he found interesting and recommended, I think even to new solvers. So I think that was part of the theme of the piece. And this was one of the ones there. I don't have any idea what's going on with it, except that there's this note from Will Shortz at the top. So we'll get to that momentarily. But first, I'm going to thank a few people who have helped this channel survive. And they are today Kathleen Quinn, Quotidiophile, Overfull Hitbox, and as always, the Indomitable Stuhlmaster and the Incredible Horan family. So thank you so much to the 5 of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for sustaining this channel and series. I really do appreciate it. And if you'd like to help out in that way, you can head over to patreon.com/dailysolve, where you can find the bonus videos available to patrons, and for benefactors, the official Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug. There's also a link in the description field to that. So thank you so much to the 5 of them and everybody who is a patron. All right, please do also subscribe to the channel, and there's the Daily Solve Discord chat server you can join in a link from the description field as well. So let's get on to today's bonus solve. As I said, this is a puzzle that was recommended by Will Shortz himself, so the editor of the New York Times crossword. It was, as he says here, a debut construction by Joanne, and it was a Tuesday puzzle, so it should be fairly approachable, fairly straightforward, solvable, and it will have a theme as well. And I assume the theme is what Will Shortz particularly enjoyed about it. We can see there's some circled cells poking through the gauzy privacy veil, so those will have something to do with the theme, and we'll just have to find out how. So let's start solving and see what this debut constructor put together. Right, okay, so we have different angles, sort of. I'm not exactly sure yet what these are meant to represent. I'm wondering if I should go straight to 68 across. I wouldn't ordinarily do that, but because this puzzle has this note here, and so if someone else were to come to this puzzle just because they'd been recommended it, their instinct might be to go straight to 68 across because it's expressly referenced in this note. So I might just do that as well, just to try and play along in that way. Anyway, it says geographical features, or what the circled squares in this puzzle represent. Okay, mountains? I'm not sure. No, this doesn't look like a mountain. And this would be sort of an inverted mountain, a valley, I suppose you could say. Okay, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, we'll have to see. Camera openings are apertures. That's the opening through which light enters a camera. And dollar competitor, I think dollar is, in this case, I'm guessing, is referring to the car rental company. So a competitor to the Dollar Car Rental Corporation is Avis, is one. And I think in 4 letters starting with A, that'll be the answer. Sensory appendage. I can't think of a sensory appendage in 4 letters starting with P. Yeah, I'm not sure. First name of the First Lady of Song, Etta James, I presume, here, and her first name, of course, Etta James, the great Etta James. Indeed, a great singer. 500 sheets of paper is a ream of paper, so there we have that. A blast producer could be I don't know. I thought it would come to me, but it hasn't. Colorado tribe, the Utes, so the Ute tribe, for which Utah is named, I'm pretty sure. And a narrow inlet is a ria, so a narrow inlet in the sense of water, narrow inlet into land. To come after, if this event comes after that event, it ensues, it follows. This looks like, no, never mind. I was going to say Valentine, but it doesn't look like that, does it? Patron of the hearts. Oh, sorry, this isn't Etta James. It's Ella Fitzgerald. It's not Etta James. Oh, I'm sorry. Ella Fitzgerald is indeed the First Lady of Song. Well, Etta James is also great. So We've got Ella Fitzgerald and Etta James mistakenly, but anyway, both great singers. Patron of the Hearts, Valentine. There was Valentine, so yes, as in Saint Valentine, Saint Valentine's Day, etc. All right. Sensory appendage could be what? Your palm? I don't know. I'm not really sure that makes sense. Fidgety. I'm not sure. Too much of email is spam. I think we could all agree with that. So what is the sensory appendage? I don't know. These all seem correct to me. Why do I not see what this is? Oh, palp? Like sort of palpitations? Is that an appendage? That must be an appendage that some animals have. Sorry, I'm slightly embarrassing that I don't know that offhand, but I'm thinking that must be correct. To palpate something is to kind of, massage it in a way. So I can see how that could be sensory appendage related. Anyway, if you're fidgety, you're ill at ease. Okay, so here we have, we have a plateau spelled out in the grid. All right, so landform, geographical features, landforms? I mean, could it be that? Because then this could be, a cliff or something. This could be, maybe this would be mountain, I bet. This could be a plain. Oh, then this would be a valley indeed. And this would be a mesa. Oh, should I take a chance on these? Mesa, this would be mountain. There we go. This would be a plain. I'm just gonna write these all in blind, and we'll see if they come to fruition. So what did I say? Valley, yeah. And then this is maybe a cliff or a butte, maybe. No, no, it could be either, I suppose. Let's see. No, it is Cliff, because Back to the Future bully, that character from the film Back to the Future, is Biff. So there we go. Wooden shoes, a sabot or sabat, I suppose, depending on how Frenchly you'd like to pronounce it. Let's see. So there we go. Weather of a region is its climate. So yeah, this I bet this is right. So we have our landforms, which are geographical features. And so this is one of those themes that you could solve without ever paying attention to the theme at all, because these landforms don't, you could just end up with them simply by solving all of the crossing clues correctly, and you'd end up with all of these spelled out by default. And then landforms, you could simply answer the clue, geographical features, and that would be that. But also, you could do what I just did and sort of try and get ahead of it a bit, which I bet will work out. So a Halloween activity is scaring, I guess. Scare people on Halloween, that seems reasonable. Edgar Allan Poe. I always forget if Edgar Allan Poe is spelled, Allen or A-N at the end. I can't quite remember. So let's look at this cross. They lift kites, up drafts, and trickle through is seep through, as in liquid seeping through a crack or something. To not mention something would be to omit it. And a caddy's bag full could be teas. So a golf caddy could, have a bag of teas, I suppose, for that purpose. So what's it all about, Alfie? Oh, right. This is, I've actually never seen the film Alfie, but there is a theme song. I don't remember who wrote it. Was it, I don't know, Burt Bacharach maybe? But the performance I know of it is it the Meters? There was a sort of soul band in the 60s who recorded a version of this song. Maybe they performed the version on the film soundtrack. I don't know. But anyway, might have been the Meters. I might be wrong, but anyway, that's the version of this song that I'm familiar with, and it's a great recording. Okay, day's end to a poet. Ean for evening, sort of contracted, E-E-N. Tint could be a dye, and a bouquet holder is a vase of flowers, for instance. Some batteries are AAA batteries. A grade of beef is grade of beef. So that would be the sort of USDA grades, I assume, sort of prime and I don't know what they all are. Let's see. What about this? Trader Blank restaurant eponym. Oh, Trader Vic, right. So Trader Vic's was one of the real progenitors of tiki bars, or Trader Vic himself, as he called himself, I suppose. I don't remember what his real name was. But yeah, and in fact, sadly, at the end of last year, I think on December 31st, 2022, the Trader Vic's in London closed down. It was the oldest surviving Trader Vic's restaurant still in existence. It had been there. It'd been in the basement of a Hilton hotel for decades and decades, and it closed. I went with some friends a couple of weeks before it finally closed down. But anyway, yeah, Trader Vic. The sort of the one that's referred to as the original is in Emeryville, California, near San Francisco. It's not technically the original location though, so it's not as old as the London one was. Okay, and other women. Latin, I suppose. Is it something like this? Et alia is that? Because et alia is and others, so other women specifically would be putting a feminine ending on this. I don't know. I don't know enough Latin to be confident about this. So let's. Okay, it would be this ae ending. Yeah. Okay, that was what I would have guessed, but I wasn't sure. But it looks like downgrade of beef is select, which I think I do kind of recognize. So there's that. Come and get it signals in the army. Mess calls, you'd call, service people to the mess, where the food is served. Outstanding miniseries and outstanding drama series. Those would be examples of Emmy awards. So Emmys could go here, the television awards. And organization that approves trailers is the, what are they? The MP, is it the MPG? What is it? MPAA, the Motion Picture Association of America, or something like that. It's something to that effect. But yeah, you see their approval stamp on trailers. Yoga position could be in a yoga asana pose. C59 down. Okay, well, let's do that. 59 down says, with 46 across Antarctic waters. Something C. Is it the Ross Sea? What are the Antarctic waters? I think it's the Ross Sea. Let's check the crosses here. John, who wrote it must be. Well, I shouldn't say it must be, but it could be, because John, who wrote My First Summer in the Sierra, I mean, I've not read this, but it must be John Muir, the famous naturalist. So I suspect that's the case. Prefix with Zoic, the Mesozoic era. There we go. In terms of prehistory. CCCP in English, that is the USSR, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, former USSR. And CCCP would be how it's rendered in Russian and the Cyrillic script. Line item veto is a power that some executive might have to veto individual elements of a bill or something like that. References alludes to. Oh right, okay, yes. He references something. He alludes to it. There we go. And 3 on a telephone has the letters DEF, I suppose. There we go. Less relevant in the era of smartphones. This was published 2010, so I suppose smartphones were around, certainly. But landlines also probably more common. Or I should say touch-tone telephones. I guess we still do list the letters on the phone keypads, but the smartphone keypads, but they're less relevant. Anyway, Tristan und Isolde. This is the opera or story in other forms, but this is sort of constructed in German, so und for and in German. And that was pretty much filled in there, so crosses help, of course. Den Mothers. Oh, sorry, this is an S, Mesozoic with an S. Sorry about that, because I was thinking this didn't look very plausible, and indeed it wasn't. So the Den Mothers are lionesses. There we go. Unintentionally appropriate to just the last week or so, when the Lionesses, the England national football team, made it to the World Cup final, but sadly did not win. Lost to Spain, who did play very well. Like most NBA players, Tall, yes, that is indeed true of most basketball players. Salsa singer Cruz, Delia or Celia, and I can't remember which. Celia Cruz, I want to say. Let's see if that works. Grant, yeah, if you grant, you could grant land to, I don't know, another sovereign power or something. You could cede that land. Hightailed it. If one hightailed it, one ran quickly, one sped. And then founding father Richard Henry Lee. Actually, this actually isn't familiar to me offhand, but it looks like the name Lee. Let's check the crosses. Like most prom goers. So prom referring to the what sort of senior dance in U.S. high schools. It's not helping me solve it. Oh, teenage? Yeah, okay, there we go. Most prom goers think they'd all be teenage. I don't know. I suppose you could be a 20-year-old and somehow still be in high school, conceivably. I suppose that plausibly could occur. Maybe they're referring maybe the others who aren't the teenage ones are the sort of adults who are chaperoning or running the event. Brideshead for one, an estate. Brideshead Revisited. So the novel, I think this is what this is referring to, the estate that is revisited. And is a maitre d' for, say, if you're a maitre d' at a restaurant, maybe you could seat the guests, so seats could work here. And well, la-di-da, you might say, to, I don't know, call attention to somebody else acting self-important. And service leaders in the service could be chaplains, so we're using two meanings of service here. Leaders of religious services in the military service. And then meager could be scant or thin. Neither of those fits. Lean, meager, a meager meal, lean meal. That could work. There we go. Okay. So candied as fruits. Glazed, candied as fruits. I'm not seeing that either. Mrs. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Right. Maria, what is her name? Maria Shriver. Maria Shriver. Okay. Grappling site is a mat, as in maybe wrestling. I bet that's what this is referring to, a wrestling mat. And if you're getting an A+ on something, you're acing it. Doing perfectly well. And candied as fruit. Oh, gloss. So a glacé. I think this is what this candied as fruit. So right, okay. So the E would have an accent on it to reflect that, I believe. And then uptight is tense, and then Hibernia is Aaron. So is this what a sort of Roman name, I think, for Ireland? And then Aaron. Because there's Aaron and then there's also Ira, and I know I don't pronounce these properly. And I don't remember, is Aaron Gaelic or something? I can't remember. In any case, these are names for Ireland, basically, is what we're looking for here. Okay. Busybody is a yenta, someone who, from the Yiddish, who's sort of someone who gets involved in other people's business. So then here we have a conical dwelling is a teepee, a yoga position is an asana, right? Okay, we saw that actually already. Oh, and then here we have exam with sections known as arguments for short, is an LSAT, I think is the law school admissions test, is what that stands for. So it must have sections known as arguments, which I didn't know, never having taken the LSAT. Okay, extensions on a building maybe could be annexes. And ready or not, you might say, here I come. No longer if something's no longer fashionable, it's out. It's not in. And a wildebeest is a new. Slyness is guile. You could deploy slyness and guile. Guyness and slyle is what my brain wanted to say there. A bit of a spoonerism. And a song whose title is repeated before and after gentile in its first line. Oh, Alouette, Gentil Alouette. Right, okay, there we go. The French song. Okay. Lackaday. Alas, maybe? Let's check the crosses first. I'm not sure that's right. Sainted 11th century Pope. Well, it must be Leo the Ninth. I mean, I wouldn't have just gotten that off the top of my head, but with the crosses, it was helpful. So there we go. And then, well, that was stupid of me. Oops, you might say. And right, there's having plenty of money to spare. There's having ample money, you could say. So having plenty to spare, ample. And that this is alas, I suppose. Okay, so just sort of a quaint sort of expression of despair, maybe. And then wedding invitation enclosures are SASE self-addressed stamped envelopes. So, right, I see. You might send a wedding invitation with one of these in order to allow people to respond to it. Now, this is definitely something that I think you'd be much less likely to see now versus 2010, because you'd probably do this electronically now. I mean, you'd still maybe send someone the wedding invitation in the mail, but you'd have a way for them to email their RSVP rather than mail it back. But I'm sure people still do this to be, if they're particularly formal. All right. Anyway, Champagne Tony of Golf must be Lima. Lima doesn't mean anything to me, but it must be the answer, and it was. So that was a Tuesday crossword. Now, that was no pushover of a Tuesday crossword, I would say. As far as Tuesdays go, it wasn't a complete walk in the park, but I really enjoyed getting the landforms early on and typing them all into the grid. So we had our plateau, our cliff, our valley, our mesa, our plain, and our mountain. And I think this is a pretty impressive debut crossword. So I agree with Will Shortz's evaluation here. Quite a debut, indeed. I agree. So there we have it. That was the crossword from Tuesday, February 23rd, 2010. I'm sorry I didn't have today's crossword for you, but I hope that this was a reasonable substitute. So there we have it. This was, I might mine the rest, more suggestions from this same article to see if I can find some other bonus crosswords to solve on my off days. So perhaps you'll be seeing a few more of those in the coming days or weeks. I don't know, obviously, on what day this is published at the time that I'm recording it, but I will be back tomorrow with something, either the daily crossword or another bonus solve. So look forward to that either way. I hope you join me. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your day. Take care.